Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Well, welcome to another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. We're going for another threefer today. I think the last time we had Jess and Cheryl on, and now we've got Scott and Will on.
Yo.
And it is Thanksgiving week. Even though this is coming out like after Thanksgiving, are y'all looking?
Black Friday.
Huh?
This comes out on Black Friday.
Comes out on Black Friday.
We're going to give this one to y'all for a discount. Half off of what you paid last week for the potluck.
Yep. We appreciate
it's our Black Friday special.
You don't have to drop any elbows for this one.
No.
If you will share this with 5 people, I'll give you 75% off.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a deal.
I'd even give it for free if you just share it with your mom. But, no, it's all good. Yeah, dude, Thanksgiving. We're not doing traditional Thanksgiving this year. We're not doing no turkey. We're not doing mashed potatoes. I think the only thing that we're having that's traditional or would be considered traditional is Erica wanted pumpkin pie.
Yuck. I knew you were going to say that too.
Yeah.
I hate pumpkin.
What about pumpkin roll?
No, I hate all things pumpkin.
That cream cheese icing, though?
I hate cream cheese. So there you go on that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know what my parents started doing last year is they called us and they were like, hey, do you all care if we just do Bob Evans for Thanksgiving? Like, order their Thanksgiving meal to go? I was like, we don't care. So that's what we're doing again this year.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. My mom's like, at that point, she's like, I'm not trying to cook all that food. Like,
No.
oh, don't.
Well, you literally, like the day before is like whenever everybody makes all their desserts and everything. So you're literally baking all day. And then you've got a turkey that you got to get up super early because, you know, and make sure that it's all ready to go and then cook everything else. And then it just sits in your fridge until you throw it away. Like after the Thanksgiving meal, like we eat leftovers and stuff, but there's always so much food left over that we can't ever. Yeah. And so this year, Erica just said, I don't want to do anything traditional. I don't want turkey. I don't want any of that. I said, well, how about we just go to Kroger, just get some really nice steaks. I'll cook them up on the Traeger, like smoke them, and then do a sear at the end. Baked potatoes, asparagus, and just be done with it. And she goes, that sounds like that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but then you don't get to fight over the carving knife.
What are you talking about?
What knife is this?
No, when cutting up the turkey, you know, there's always that, like, handing it down. I don't know.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I have no clue. Y'all be fighting over knives in the Ford household.
Dude, for real.
I thought he was going to say the wishbone, which would have been a totally normal thing to say.
Yeah, the carving knife. Like, it's like, okay.
We just do things a little differently.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So are you saying like your dad, like, oh, it's like my tradition. Like my dad used to always cut it.
So you cut the turkey
Yeah,
now?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And you got the electric knife. And then, like, you ever seen, like, on TV shows where they hand it down? And it's like, oh, you're really choosing me to cut the turkey this year, Dad?
I've never seen that.
All right. I guess it's just me.
No, I don't do anything Hallmark channel.
So are you excited to cut the turkey?
Moment.
Oh, no, I screwed up.
So you haven't even gotten past the knife yet? You're just like holding out hope?
It's just
how many brothers do you
ass.
have? You just have one brother?
Yeah, I've only got one brother.
All right, so you got to fight him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's way bigger than me.
Well, you ain't getting that knife.
Y'all watch too much Hallmark. I mean, that's exactly what this. That's like the stuff on Hallmark.
Yeah.
Holiday Channel. Like the old country boy came into the big city, and
this is such a great introduction for this because we're interviewing the intern, and now you're getting ready. Now you're seeing like that. Yeah. When the intern says something, we're going to get after him.
Yeah. Welcome to ministry,
We
Will.
like to give Will a hard time.
Well, yeah, we do. We are going to be talking with Will and a little bit about this relationship that we have with this organization called Trellis. Scott, walk us through what Trellis is, how we got involved with them, and just what that process looks like for us here at Southridge.
Yep, Trellis is a organization that has just gotten started, I think, over the last couple of years, and it was birthed from a pastor who, as he was looking at the statistics for training of pastors and the amount of pastors that are needed to fill all the positions at all these churches, seminaries are just not producing enough pastors to fill all the open positions. Like it was, I think he was telling me one denomination he was looking at, like just in the United States, had like 2,000 churches that did not have a pastor. And so he saw this need that there was not enough people being trained up in ministry. But then there was another side of it. Like, I remember early on in my ministry days when I was a youth pastor and I was looking for new jobs, like all the time, because it was like, all right, I never thought I would get to stay here. Like, I just always thought, no, I'm going to have to go somewhere else. So I was always looking for new jobs, and like every job that you would see the job description for, they wanted work experience and they wanted a college education. Yeah. No matter, like, it could be like, this is a church of 30 people in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to pay you nothing, but we would like you to have a college education to come and lead. It's like, well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But everyone wants work experience and a college education, and their pastors, for the most part. I think some churches are getting away from that, which I think is a good thing. But based on the need for pastors and the lack of pastors being produced, and then this whole need that it is also a good idea to be theologically educated and trained and have work experience if you are going to go into ministry, it kind of birthed this ministry called Trellis, where students can go to a church and work as an intern for 3 years while getting their undergraduate degree, and the church pays for the tuition, which has been negotiated down by these certain schools to a lower rate so the way the church can afford it. So the church gets an employee essentially for the cost of tuition, and then the pastor that's going through the training is getting a 4-year college degree in 3 years. So he's getting theological education plus 3 years work experience in multiple different disciplines. Because Will has already done time on youth ministry, kids ministry, worship ministry, and he works with me a lot, so he sees just a bunch of different aspects of ministry. So he's going to come out with experience in all these different areas, and the idea is that he's essentially going to be debt-free when he comes out as well, which is a huge thing for pastors because, like, for me, like, I have 3 college degrees, 2 of which are in ministry, and they are very, very, very expensive, and there's not very many churches anywhere that will pay you enough money to ever offset the amount of money that it costs to go get those degrees.
Yeah.
So there's a major issue there because financial health is one of the major indicators on whether somebody will be healthy in ministry and if they'll stay in ministry for a long term.
Yeah.
So most of these pastors were going to seminary, coming out, massive debt, and then they're realizing, to make the payments on my school loans, I'm going to have to go get a regular job outside of ministry to be able to keep up with how much money I owe over here. So Trellis kind of fixes all of that. It's getting people trained for ministry through theological education and practical work experience, and those students are coming out debt-free because the church is paying the tuition in return for them interning at the church for a set number of hours per week. So it's we heard about this when Anna, our students pastor, she went on to some youth thing. And that's where she got introduced to Trellis, and she brought it back. And I thought, this is like exactly what we need to be involved in because, like, I'm passionate about helping people be raised up in ministry. Like, we've done that quite a bit here. We've seen multiple people here at our church raised up into ministry. One is leading her own church now in Huntington, and Another has been ordained at another church, and like we've seen a lot of people raised up. We've had a lot of interns come through, and I thought, well, this is a great mechanism to do our part to help build up workers for the kingdom, and that's And I had already been having discussions with Will before all that about kind of what God was maybe leading him to do. He kind of felt like there was a transition coming in his life and such, and it just ended up being a gigantic God thing. But Trellis is an unbelievable idea and organization. Yeah, and it's something even like we already had Will here, which is awesome, and hopefully our next person will be someone here as well. But they also have it where like, hey, if I'm looking for an intern, and maybe this kid from California is looking for a place to intern, that Trellis will also send us people in the future. So the way we can continue to churn out pastors. And then as these pastors go out and preach and pastor and work at their own churches and their own congregations, or even possibly here at Southridge, then ultimately we are helping fix the problem of the lack of ministers. Because 90% of people that start in ministry do not finish in ministry. Yeah. There's a high attrition rate just because of the job in itself. And so between the high attrition rate and the lack of people that are wanting to go into the clergy now, because, I don't know, 4 decades ago, being a pastor was a well-respected occupation in the community, and now it's not. Yeah. Because of all of the abuse and scandals and things that have come to light.
I know.
It's like...
I tell people all the time, like whenever I go running on Saturdays at these 5Ks that I do, like, hey, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a pastor. And they're like, all right, that concludes our conversation.
Yeah, because they either think, oh, well, I know something about Christianity. You're hateful. Yeah. You're all on and on and on. All this. So like the role. So not very many kids are growing up going, oh, you know what I'd like to do is be one of the most hated professions in the world, please. Oh, I would love that. I would love for people to just, when they hear what I do for a living, walk away and go like, oh, gosh, that freaking guy. Yeah. Like, so there's not enough people wanting to go into ministry. And so Trellis is helping fix that problem. And here at Southridge, we want to do our part.
Yeah. Now, this call to ministry that you were feeling in your life, Will, I know that, what was it, not this past Easter, but the Easter before then, we got to hear a little bit of your story. We utilized it in our Easter service whenever your mom came up and was talking about, for years I had been praying for my son to be delivered and healed from this addiction that he was dealing with. And then we got to see the other side of that where you were like, I'm the son that she was praying for, and God had done this in my life. Talk a little bit about this pulling, this calling to ministry that you started to feel once you gave your life to Jesus. Just talk a little bit about that.
Well, it was super gradual at first, and then it's like, I don't know, it just started, the Lord started knocking harder and
get up in there.
The Lord started knocking harder and harder on my heart, and it got to the point where a lot of things were just, I just wanted to be here more and more, where I went through this bout with anxiety and everything, and it led me towards, I don't know, I was off work on short-term disability while I was going to therapy and things, and I was like, well, I want to spend my free time at the church while I'm doing this. And the more time I spent here and with Scott talking, the more I started feeling that pull in this direction, because I had this thirst for the knowledge of the Word, and I just wanted to consume everything I could that got me closer to Jesus. Mm-hmm. And that's really where it all came down to, was that want for more Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy to me because it's like, I would always pray for the Lord to soften my heart. And I think he does that through showing me in his word what it is I'm supposed to do when I'm doing things. He shows me when I'm doing something wrong and that I need to get closer to him. And in those moments, that's when I really, I get drawn closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
And ministry, it just seems like the perfect thing to do. You know, it's like Scott was saying, you know, the profession where you're talking to somebody and they just go away from you as soon as you tell them what you're doing. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel like the Lord had called me. You know, it doesn't make any other sense to me.
Yeah.
It's strange.
That's exactly where any good pastor has to be. That's what it takes. That's why, like, a lot of people I think go into ministry and they don't have that resolve right there. That, like, I'm telling you right now, and I assume the vast majority of people that listen to this go to this church, so I'm their pastor.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, as your pastor, if it was not for God saying this is what you're supposed to do, I would not do this for all the money in the world.
Yeah.
Just that's it. And that's not like, oh, would you please feel sorry for me and my family for our plight of being your pastor? It's like, no, I'm just telling you, like, what people go through in ministry that no one else knows about, like, and for the, like, the lack of upside financially, like, it's, you could only do this for long term if you actually had a call in from God to do it.
Yeah.
Dead serious. Like,
yeah, it's one of those things that most people don't get an opportunity to kind of experience, and that was like the whole goal of like this podcast.
Yeah,
which is just kind of open up a door into what it's like to be a pastor, how we can joke and we can have fun.
Yeah.
And there's been many a times where we've said this sentiment to where we celebrate with people in the most amazing moments of their lives, you know, with the birth of a child, maybe one of their children gets married, just exciting stuff to celebrate. But then we also deal with like the absolute worst of those things. And sometimes it just feels like there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
And you know, with the death of a loved one, or, you know, just crazy diagnosis from a doctor, or just having conversation a little bit today was, you know, we found out that there's a possibility that a family could be kicked out on the street, and that is detrimental to the way that anybody would ever have to think about it. And it's like God, give us the wisdom to try to help figure this out, because we don't want a family and small children not having a place to live like the week of Thanksgiving.
It's that I used to teach this class for the Church of God, and it was actually my capstone project for my master's. And it was on preaching, but when I went back, I redid it to where the first section of it wasn't about preaching, but it was actually more about the pastor himself or herself. And one of the things that I've always told people when it comes, like, I've had a good amount of people throughout my time here at Southbridge come up to me, much like Will did, is like, hey, I think I'm called into ministry. And I will tell them, like, listen, if God will let you do anything else, you should go do that. If he will let you do anything else, like, then you should go and do that, because this is not like one of those jobs where you just pick it and you go, oh, that sounds like fun. Like, that's not going to keep you in this long term. Yeah. And the key, what most people don't ever stick around anywhere long enough to find out, is that the key to successful ministry is longevity. Mm-hmm. Like, we were just talking earlier today, like, December 1st will be 12 years here. Yeah. That is almost unheard of for me to be at a church 12 years. Yeah. Like, people just don't do that anymore. Like, the average for most senior pastors is under 2 years in a certain place. Youth pastors is like barely a year and a half.
Yeah, worship pastors are 2 years as well.
Longevity. And that's why everyone's like, oh, well, it just wasn't working, or I couldn't get the church to grow. Dude, this stuff takes forever. Yeah. Longevity is so key. And look, if you're not called to it, you won't be able to do it for a long time. Yeah. Because it's not easy. It's very, very difficult, which is why I think the Trellis program is so amazing, because you can go off to a very safe environment called seminary and get your degree, and then come out with like all wide-eyed and like, oh, I'm going to change the world and all of this. And then like you go to your first church, and then you get knocked on your butt a couple times, and you go like, oh crap, man, this isn't everything I thought it was. Whereas now with what Will's going through, like he's here with us now, he gets all of this inside information. So the way he's not disillusioned when he goes to take his first position and goes like, well, gosh, this isn't at all what it was like in the textbook. Like, no, it's not. So you're going to get, yes, you're going to get great theological training through the school, but you're also not going to be disillusioned when you go like, oh yeah, I've seen churches have to deal with, you know, people in leadership that have been acting wild out in their own life, and someone has to have a sit-down conversation. I've seen that. I've been there, done that. I've sat in staff meetings where difficult things have to be talked about. I've seen when churches go through financial struggle and how the leadership has had to handle that. You get to see all that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see any of that when I came into ministry.
No.
Right, I just came in. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is not at all like, because I had friends in ministry even here at Southridge when I just attended here, and I was that type of person that was like, man, this sounds cool. I'd like to come work with y'all. And then it took about a month, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like not fun at all. Like it is an awesome job because like here we are on the Thanksgiving week, and we're like sitting around talking into a microphone. Like we're not like it's kind of a chill week, right? So that's cool, but at the same time there's also like a lot of difficulty that comes with it, which the Trellis program is brilliant because it will ensure that people come out fully understanding what to expect in ministry. So that way when that first rough patch hits, you don't feel like you're the only person in the history of the world it's ever happened to. And you go, oh, I've seen this before. I'm ready for that.
Talk a little bit about your schooling schedule. Like what is a typical like I guess semester or term, because they're cramming 4 years into 3 years. So what does your schedule look like?
So it's actually, Trellis only requires you to do 15 hours a semester, but doing it that way, I don't get any time off. So I'm doing 18 hours a semester, which allows me to take a month and a half off during the summer. So I'll only take like a half semester in the summer, an 8-week course. And basically, it's just any free time I have is spent writing or working or reading, because I'm each week probably writing anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 words. It's
that's a lot.
That's a sermon a week.
Yeah.
That's good training.
I
don't feel sorry for you.
Now, what are your first classes like? What are you learning right now? Like, I know you're in one because we talk about it a lot. But what are your classes that you're taking this semester?
So one of them is Intro to the Bible, which is basically just understanding the timeline of the Bible and all of that, how it works against modern history that you know. And it actually, it's opened my eyes a lot to see. It has broadened my horizons to know that the Bible just isn't this solitary thing. It's happened within the world, and that's pretty cool to look at it that way.
Yes.
Yep.
And but my absolute favorite class is this Intro to Spiritual Formation, and it is all about spiritual disciplines. Like prayer, guidance, worship, things like that. And we're reading like 5 books in that class on by different authors. One of them is Howard Thurman. He was a big friend of Martin Luther King and a confidant to him. And great book. It's
it's all good.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that book. And we're also another one that's really been huge to me and helpful is Celebration of Discipline by Foster. And just the rundown of each spiritual discipline and what it looks like within living a Christ-like life is just it's amazing.
It sounds like you're getting like the fundamentals in theology, but also the fundamentals on what it means to be a Christ follower.
Yeah, exactly.
And which is great because it's a good foundation for everything, especially in ministry. Like you've got to be you got to be super disciplined on reading your Bible if you're going to be a pastor. And it's sad, but there's pastors out there that don't read their Bible like as much as they should. So, well, I'm excited, man. I mean, 3 years, it'll blow by fast.
I know. I can't believe this semester's already almost over.
Yeah.
Like it's been a lot of work, but it's been awesome, and it's been a whole different change of pace for me. And what I love about it is just I'm doing what I wanted. I am gaining that knowledge that I was seeking, and it's great. I have no other way to describe it other than great.
What do you like the most about being able to work at a church as like the intern while you do your school? Let's pick your answers wisely. Your boss is sitting to your right.
It is nice. I do have the leeway to work on stuff when I need to, and that is super helpful. But my favorite thing about working here is the meetings. I don't know why, but I just love them.
Yeah, you're in the wrong boat, bud. They're gonna teach you disliking meetings 101 next semester.
It's the place. I liked meetings when I started out in ministry because it was the place where I gained the most information.
Yeah,
trying to figure out what I was doing.
Yep.
So meetings were huge.
Yeah.
For me, early on, and I still like meetings as long as they're good, productive.
Yeah.
Meetings. There are certain meetings that when I get to the end of them, I go, all right, well, we got to fix this. I can't sit through that ever
There's
again.
There's been a couple of meetings where that song, "My Mind's Telling Me No," pops into my head, and I'm going, oh gosh, I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
But yes, as long as they're productive, and I remember that feeling once you said it. It was like, yes, that's where I got like most of my information from, and I'm like, all right, I could put 2 and 2 together. I know what I need to be doing, because I'd see the kids pastor get put through the ringer or something like that at a previous church. I'm like, all right, don't do what he did. Just show up prepared next time, because you get a couple of weeks where.
Yeah.
I think we experience a lot of growth in them too, like just fellowship wise. Like, it's because a lot of the time during the day we're all in our respective areas working on stuff we need to get done.
Yeah.
But in meetings we actually get to converse and problem solve with one another, and it just it really, I don't know, builds our relationships, and I like that.
Yeah.
It just depends on if you're a good joke teller or not, though.
Or joke taker.
Yeah, well, Anna makes Scott laugh like anybody.
Yeah.
Like her comedy is on his wavelength.
Yeah.
My comedy
is not. You and Megan have the same wavelength when it comes to comedy.
Well, it's funny because like her and I will always be looking at each other if we like one of us says something and we just try to hold it in and we just die laughing. But I'm like, oh, I wonder if I just got to be here 10 years, and then Scott finally opens up and starts liking my jokes.
I'm just sitting there, just cracking up at everybody all the time. That's my wavelength is everybody's like receptively.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
What is the thing that has shocked you the most behind the curtain of ministry?
Just everything that goes into it. Honestly, it is like. Everything that goes into sharing the word on Sunday is mind-blowing and mind-boggling, because it is just insane to me that we're able to do that. We're able to make it happen, and it's
every single week.
It's a God thing.
And you got to think we've got Friday and Saturday off, so we do it, and Sunday is go time, so we do it in 4 days.
Yeah.
And that's what's mind blowing, but it's also just shows that we're like super reliant on people to volunteer and be a part and make those things happen. Training other people to help carry this ministry load.
Yeah.
Because if we did it all by ourselves, we would literally put a house on the property, and all of the pastors would live in this big ginormous house.
Turn it into a compound.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. Compound's not the right word, Will. Anything with ministry and compound is not a good combination.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I think it's just a awesome opportunity not only for us as Southridge, just to like for this thing to kind of be opened up and presented to us, but also just for you, because look, the next 3 years are not going to be easy, and you already know that. Like 18 hours is a lot of schoolwork. Trying to come in here and do a job, and you've only been married for a year, and then trying to still figure out that whole side of life, like. But continue to rely on God, continue to trust in Him, and He'll give you the strength to get through all of that stuff, man. To stay diligent with your schoolwork, to continue to cut time and make time for your wife and all that.
Yeah, you don't want to see my sleeping schedule. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Where she works midnights and everything. I like to stay up and wait on her, But as soon as she gets home, I'm like, all right, let's go to bed.
She's like, nah. Yeah, but yeah. Well, that's good, man. I'm excited. Awesome. Are you excited about it too, Scott?
This is my excited face.
Yeah, you're excited for a mystery meat because you knew it was coming. All righty.
Let's burn that on that candle right there.
No, thank you.
That would be funner than answering this question.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
That's it?
That's it? That's the question. Travel anywhere. First thing that comes to mind. Don't try to whittle it down.
Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah.
Nice. Because you want to eat them shepherd's pies?
I like shepherd's pie.
Get you some haggis.
Some what?
Wait, no, that's Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Scottish. I would like bangers and mash. Would be my thing.
Sausage and potatoes.
Yeah, sausage and mashed
beans
potatoes.
for breakfast.
I can't do that. Can't do that. Yeah, we were looking at actually going to Ireland this year, last year, because we just got back from our fall trip, and so we start planning our next fall trip. And when we got home last year, we were looking at Ireland for this year and decided it wasn't going to work. But I was watching a lot of those videos, because we'll get on YouTube and just watch travel bloggers.
Yeah.
And when they were going around talking about a traditional Irish breakfast, I was always like, that's not as exciting as what it's like
lunch and dinner are way more exciting than breakfast.
Their idea of breakfast is a bunch of stuff that I would not do for breakfast.
Yeah, beans.
I like an American breakfast. They do have that over there just because they have so many visitors. But yeah, I would say Ireland. There's a lot of Europe that I'm very interested in.
Yeah,
but it starts with Ireland. I'm not really. There's nowhere really in the United States that I haven't gone that I care to go see.
Yeah.
And then for me, once I've been to one island, I feel like I've been to all of them. Right? Like if I go to one Caribbean island, I don't need to travel further to be like, oh, you've got water and sand too.
Oh, this has the same steel drum player.
Yeah, so I'm not big on that. I think Europe. My only problem is, and I've always just kind of assumed I'm not ever going to Europe because I don't like to fly.
Yeah.
And there's not a short flight to Europe.
No.
It's all past my threshold of what I'm comfortable with. It's the same thing with Hawaii. Everyone's like, oh, you want to go to Hawaii? It's a 5-hour trip to Los Angeles. And then you get on a plane to Hawaii that is nothing but water under you for I don't know.
Hours.
5, 6, 7 hours.
Yeah.
I hate flying so much. I don't like driving either, to be honest. I really am a big fan of my house. And I will watch you all travel on YouTube if you'll make an interesting enough blog.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping I will get over this flying thing the older I get and be like, all right, I can chill with flying.
Dude, your dislikes get more intense the older
they
you
do,
get.
man. It's that's all I can say is yes, that is 100% true. But I also find out my likes also become more intense the older I get.
Yeah,
as well. Just what I like is what I like. I'm almost getting to the point where I like pepperoni pizza so much. I feel like a child. I literally could eat it every night. I love it that much. I don't ever get tired of it.
Yeah,
had it for lunch today. I could have it for dinner. It wouldn't bother me.
I've had it 3 times this weekend.
Megan won't do that though. That's my problem. She doesn't She needs variety. Like, if I like something, I just really like it.
Yeah.
If I don't like something, I really don't like it.
I know. You let everybody know.
Yeah, I've got to. I feel like that's my role.
Will, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
France.
Why is that?
I don't know. I like the language.
You like the language? Do you know the language?
Omelette du fromage.
What?
Omelet with cheese. That's all I know. And I took 2 semesters
And you
of French
can't
in
even
high
get
school.
meat in that omelet because you don't know sausage.
Yep. Maybe it's like a sausage. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe.
no. No. Nope. No, we're not doing that,
You're
Will.
gonna need-
Don't try to guess words.
You're going to need to stay in the United States if you want a proper omelet.
Yeah. 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 Because, I mean, think about where cheese, you just said whatever and fromage. So cheese and fromage, that's the difference between the
What's
two.
a fromage?
That's cheese, right?
Yeah.
That's cheese.
Omelette is the omelet.
Yeah.
Omelette?
Yeah, omelette du fromage. Omelet with cheese.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
a
Where did you
Royale with
learn
cheese.
that?
That's what I'm trying to say, though. If you try to go over there and order a sausage, you're going to get something completely different because
Yeah.
cheese and fromage is so completely different.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean,
And an omelet is already a French word.
oh, well, that makes sense. I was wondering why it sounded so similar.
Omelette. That's what he sounded like.
I'm going to Japan. That's where I'm going.
Really?
Yeah.
Every time I've read Shoe Dog twice now, the Phil Knight story.
Yeah.
And every time he goes to Japan in that book, I kind of want to.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. For me, I have a feeling that I only like Japanese food here in America.
Yeah, you like
You know
it
what I'm
super Americanized.
Yeah, I like everything super Americanized. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if I had to go to Mexico and eat real Mexican food, I probably wouldn't care that much for it.
No. It is
Because
completely
it's all
different.
corn tortilla.
And it's completely different flavor profile than what
like,
we get
I
in America.
like Taco Bell. That's my favorite Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, no, you will not like the food in Mexico.
Yeah, so I like an Americanized everything. So, like, even like my guess is I mentioned bangers and mash. I've only ever had those here in America in Irish pubs
Yeah.
that I imagine are not at all like real Irish pubs.
Yeah, because there's a lot of places in the rest of the world aside from America that just don't use preservatives for anything.
Yeah.
And us Americans, we like to jam everything that we are going to be eating
Like bangers and
full
mash
of preservatives.
is like sausages with mashed potatoes and brown gravy.
Yeah.
That's the American version of it. I'm pretty sure there's more to it when you get to Ireland, to where I will order that and be like, oh, gosh, this is too Irish. Like, I need the American version because what I really like is mashed potatoes and brown gravy.
Yeah. Can I just get a side of that, please?
Yeah. Yeah, like that's what somebody just like we just had that team go to Ecuador.
Yeah.
And I didn't go on the trip. And my aunt was in this week, and she said, I asked why I didn't go. I was like, well, I mean, first off, I have someone on my staff that handles that sort of stuff. But second off, I really don't like traveling internationally because I struggle so much with the food.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Jessica went on it. Like, she said she had to sit at dinner one night and just not get anything because she's a picky eater like me. Like, and I had that night in Ecuador when me and Cheryl went last January. Like, they went to like what would be considered like a probably fine dining, and it was a beautiful restaurant. Like, you could have saw this restaurant down on the main streets of Charleston. Like, where the other night, I mean, it was one of those, and like there was not one item on the menu that I would order, so I just sat there. They were all eating like octopus and all these different I mean, they would come out like they looked like they were eating food off like the Food Network.
Yeah.
It was that nice. And I'm going, nah, bro, nah. So I went downstairs and Steve took me downstairs and got me a hamburger from like a hamburger joint. And even that, I was like, bro, what did they do to this meat? Like, I can't, nothing tasted right to me.
Bruh, it's whatever walks in front of the establishment is what it is.
I just could not handle it at all.
It's mystery.
Like, I had a buddy that used to
literally mystery meat.
I had a buddy that used to do international missions, and he wanted me to go to China with him. Well, China is a high honor culture.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you don't want to take me up into a nice Chinese family's home because they will try to serve me food out of the goodness out of their heart, and I will not be able to do it.
Yeah.
Which is so, like, you can't do that. So I'm like, I'm not a good international missionary. Like, that's why I'm pretty sure that's why our national partner is New York City, because, like, that's my speed right there. Right, like I like the food in New York City. They
you
got
like
good
the $1 slice of
they
pepperoni
got
pizza.
good pizza and hot dogs. I can be a missionary there, but I struggle in the other areas, man. But that's why God makes all of us so different.
Yeah,
because there are some people made for overseas. I'm just not that person.
I'm made for overseas. I'm
Really?
made for all the stuff that is just random and offcuts of animals that people want to eat. I want to eat it.
Yeah, our old pastor went to Peru. They put the whole mutton in the stew, like eyeballs, everything.
Yeah,
because he was up in the really high mountains of Peru, and he was telling us because he was trying to plan another trip to go back there whenever he was here, and I was like, that's gonna be a hard pass for me, man.
It's extra protein.
I'm praying for you.
Oh, heaven's sakes. Yeah, my buddy in China said that they served snake at one of the places he went.
I've eaten snake numerous times.
Gosh.
How is it?
Tastes like chicken.
Does it feel like
when
chicken?
People
though?
say that, I never believe it.
Just depends on how you cook it.
I literally never believe it when people say that.
Well, I grew up in the backwoods of Louisiana.
So your chicken just tasted bad? Is that what you're saying? And
No.
that's why everything that's nasty tastes like chicken.
No.
I'm picturing Jared wrestling snakes right now.
No, we shoot them with a shotgun. What are you talking about, wrestling snakes? You come up on them and you just take like a little 410 shotgun and just blow its head off.
What kind of snake?
It's just whatever you came across.
And you would eat any of it?
Sure, why not?
Are there not certain snakes that taste better than others?
I'm not a snake sommelier. I don't know.
I really want to try gator.
I've had that many times. I've had that more times than I've had snake. It's good. It's delicious.
That's a new sentence.
It doesn't taste like chicken.
Alligator tastes like alligator.
Yeah.
It's great. Fry it up.
No.
I've also heard bear meat's really good.
It's greasy.
That's what I've heard that. It's greasy. Did I tell you we saw bears on our trip?
No.
Twice, right in the middle of the road on the way to our cabin.
How did you
feel? It was
feel?
awesome. Well, see, I feel the same way about bears and snakes. I'm super into them,
Yeah.
but from a distance.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm always hoping to encounter one, but, like, in a safe, like,
In a zoo.
environment. Yeah. But this was, like, literally, we were driving back to our cabin. There was a family of 3 bears. One of the bears literally in the middle of the stinking road. One of them sitting over on the side of the road on its butt like it's sitting like a human, and one just, like, rummaging around. But, like, we literally had to stop. First off, we stopped because we got the phones out and was, like, videoing these bears.
Yeah.
And, like, we FaceTimed the kids that way they could see the bears. Because I've never seen a bear out in the wild. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But then, now Megan thinks that I'm crazy for this. But I didn't think they looked that big, to be honest.
Black bears are smaller.
Yeah.
You think you
If
can win
you
in a
come
fight?
across a grizzly
Yeah, I
bear,
felt like that if I wanted to go hug that bear, I felt like I could.
Oh, you don't want to.
Well, that's what Megan says, but I'm just saying, I think that I could hang with one of those.
That's how people die.
It is?
That bear.
Because I rolled the window down. I was like, I want to hug that bear.
Did you tell them? Hey, I want to give you a hug.
I did not tell them. They ended up walking off. So that was the first day. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, we've been to Tennessee so many times and stayed in cabins and never. We even went. There's one hike that you can do up in the Smokies that they tell you that if you go do it out at Cades Cove, that you'll see bear. We even did that one time that we were there. Didn't see any bear. This time we're just driving to our cabin. I'm like, oh my word, there's 3 black bear in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And then we're coming home the last night that we're there from dinner. It's dark outside. 4 black bear in the middle of the road. I told you we was out in the woods.
Yeah.
That's how far out in the woods we was.
Yeah, it's crazy how small they are, but they're super muscular. But
I felt like I could probably hug one.
Oh yeah, but the one that'll light you up is the grizzly.
Oh yeah, I would.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't mess with the grizzly, but the blackbird just looked like, hey, we could be friends.
Like a big old puppy dog.
Yeah.
Do you want to relive your inner Jungle Book
Yeah.
fantasies?
I do because I love snakes too. But if I came across one, I would lose it. I would lose it. Or like if I saw it like at a distance, like we get them out on the parking lot here every once in a while. I love that, like because I can see them, but like I'm not like trapped by them.
You know, I've never in my life ever seen a bear, so they're about as real as Bigfoot to me.
A bear?
Yeah.
Oh, when Megan gets back here, I'll have her show you the videos. Like those, because from that point on, when we're leaving the cabin to go to our car, I'm like, how do you know if these folks are just out here by your car?
Yeah.
Like you just don't know, because they're literally in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, they could just be sitting around on the other side of the car, and you just
Exactly,
not see it.
and then I would definitely get my hug.
Yeah. You get to hug Jesus.
I'm telling you, I didn't think they were that big, but I might just be like really, really naive on this situation.
Yeah, you are, because you got to think that every day that animal, that creature, gets up and fights for survival. It is walking.
But if he hugged me, he wouldn't have to do that anymore.
Scott, the reason he's hugging you is because he wants to take a bite out of your neck.
I don't know, man, but I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bears are great.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, another episode down. We hope that you had a wonderful week with your families and friends celebrating Thanksgiving. If you have any more questions for Pastor Scott or Will about this Trellis program, feel free to stop them at church or anything else.
Yeah, and if you want to donate towards it, if you go to src.life/give, you can choose the tag that says intern, and that actually helps fund what Will is doing. So if you want to join us financially, go to src.life/give and just designate your gift towards intern, and that will go towards the Trellis program.
Yep. And maybe the occasional gift for old Will because he's doing a good job, right?
Maybe.
Hey, y'all have a great weekend. Y'all don't kill each other while y'all are shopping. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.